Hi, everybody. I'm Tommy Scoville. This is the Tommy Scoville Show. Welcome to the Lifeboat. People, I spoke earlier about lying to yourself, and lying to others, and how this is one of the real starts down that slope. That slippery slope that leads to leads to relapse and costs you your recovery. People, the kissing cousin of lies are excuses. And you know what they say about excuses? Okay, they say that, first of all, you know what, there's something that they have in common with hemorrhoids. I'm not going to get into it. But the other thing that, there are some great quotes. One of them is by Ben Franklin, who said a lot of really cool things, by the way. But Ben Franklin said, "The man who is good at making excuses is seldom good for anything else." People, I was the king of good excuses. Excellent excuses for why I did drugs. When my daughter was born, she was born with a very serious heart condition. I've shared this with you before. And she had several surgeries. I was a drug addict. I was using. I believe I told the story. If I haven't, I should. I went in and with a pocket full of syringes and withdrew out of the epidural bag the painkiller they were giving my wife for the epidural so that I could use it to fix. Proud moment. Looking back on it, proud moment. But that's who I was. That was that guy. That's not this guy. But probably because of that, and because of the fact that while at rehab, my wife met a woman who she decided to marry. And by the time that my daughter was born, they were already deep in a relationship that I hadn't been told about. So they decided, my wife and her wife decided that I was not going to be a part of my daughter's life. And they just kicked me out of her life. One day, when my daughter was about 2.5, 3 years old, I got a phone call that said, "You are never going to be a part of her life. You're never going to see her again. We're not going to allow it." And it was a bulletproof excuse. I mean, you talk about a good one. You know, why are you doing drugs? Man, they stole my baby. They stole my daughter from me. I mean, that was a pain I wanted to go away. I really did. That's legit. But there's no legit excuse for doing dope. There's not. There are great excuses we use, right? And we hold on to them and they become sacred cows, and they are such an awesome reason, that we have to use drugs. Truth of the matter is we just want to use drugs. Plain and simple. Whatever we're getting out of it. And by that I don't mean whatever it gives us, because it gives us nothing, right? What it does is it takes away. The question becomes, what does your drug take away for you? It doesn't give you squat. So for me, it took away the pain that my daughter was gone. But that was such a great excuse. Then I remarried. I went to prison, and while in prison, I got stabbed. I've told you the story. The day after I got stabbed, I was in the segregated housing unit, the hole, and I got a letter that was the Dear Tommy letter. I no longer want to be your wife. Here are the divorce papers. That was pretty much rock bottom, and maybe the second best excuse I had ever been handed to do dope. But this time I didn't. That time it took. You understand what I'm saying? For those of you who continually are falling down, one day you're going to get up and you're never going to get knocked down again. And this was it for me. I got up and I never got knocked down again. And one of the huge reasons was I wasn't going to allow there to be an excuse for why I was going to be a failure ever again. No more excuses. Another great quote is that excuses are the skin of a bag stuffed with lies, right? They're the skin of a bag that we stuff with lies. There are so many great lies. There are so many great excuses. Not going to allow any of them. So start watching yourself. In the 8-step program that we run here, one of the steps is that you take an inventory each and every day, right? You keep very short accounts of whether you're doing the right thing or the wrong thing. And I'm not bragging, people. I'm really not. But I try to live what I'm doing as an example, and I try to follow the steps. When I made the mistake about methadone, I came on here, I apologized. I treated someone poorly when they talked about cannabis. My response might have been legit. The delivery of it was not. And it weighed on me. It weighed on me because I was keeping short accounts. And Good excuses right there. No, they shouldn't be doing that. I don't want to have anybody doing anything that's going to put in jeopardy anyone who's trying to quit cannabis. Well, that's legit. But what it was the start of this. If I let it go, because I knew deep down that my delivery may have hurt somebody. It may have been something that that would make somebody feel like they did something wrong, and they didn't. They were sharing something with the group, and because I didn't think it through, I handled it poorly. But I'm proud of the fact that I caught it, and the reason I caught it is because I'm keeping really short accounts, and I'll tell you that when I do that, right, this is the nuts and bolts stuff, people. When I keep my short accounts, when I get to the end of the day, I say, how did you do today? Was it a good one? Am I moving forward or am I moving backwards? And the first two things I'm looking for every single time in that is my honesty, right? Am I lying to anybody? Am I making any excuses? And the excuses don't need to be an excuse to stick a needle in my arm or to smoke tar or to do anything else. The excuse can be anything to avoid anything else, right? Do I make an excuse for why I didn't make my bed this morning? Might sound stupid to you people. It really might. But you got to understand something. The new Tommy makes his bed. The new Tommy hangs up his clothes. So am I making an excuse for that? Look, I'm working a 12-hour day, man. I got time to make my bed. There it goes. That's the start. I promise you. Because each time I'll allow an excuse to stop me from doing something that I'm supposed to be doing, the next one gets easier. Do you understand? The next excuse is easier. The next excuse is, you know what, I'm going to go to work an hour late. Man, they can't expect me to work 12 hours a day. 12 hours a day is a long day. 60 hours in a week, I'm pulling a work week and a half every single week. I'm tired. I can be an hour late. You get it? Nuts and bolts stuff, people. Start watching for excuses. Start watching for lies. If you start telling lies and you start using excuses to justify your behavior, you're already relapsed. Doesn't mean you're going to use, but the relapse process has already started. So you have to keep very short accounts, and you got to keep your eyes out for excuses. You really do, people. There's very few things that I can hammer home that are more important. In the last comment section, there was a comment from Thomas Elwood Bailey. I'll be honest with you, I don't like that. No, not the comments. I love the comments. It should be Elwood Thomas Bailey. In fact, from here on out, I'm not putting up with this Thomas Elwood Bailey stuff. So, Elwood Thomas Bailey left a comment in the comment section that I thought was awesome. He talked about before he got sober, and this time, before he got up for the last time, before he was a new creature, this Elwood. The old Elwood found a couple of bags in a cab, and he threw them out the window. A couple of bags of heroin. For a heroin addict to throw bags out the window of an automobile, it's a beautiful thing. And he was so proud of himself that he celebrated by buying 12 bags of heroin and doing it that night. And the comment, while it's almost funny, right? Because we're looking through the lens of a person that is a rock-solid sober person. Elwood's a beast. So I can chuckle at it because there's nothing sad anymore about Elwood. But what he said was the relapse started so long before that. He had begun to lie to himself. And, now Elwood keeps very short accounts. And he's such a great juxtaposition to me because, as I've said before, our approach is so different, yet it is so similar. Elwood's not particularly concerned about his language. That's not one of the things that he felt he needed to change. But I'll tell you something. Watch Elwood with his bodyguard. If you've never been over to Elwood's channel, please go over and take a look at it. And if the language offends you, then maybe it's not going to be for you. But go over and take a look and give the guy a chance. Because when you can see his bodyguard is not a very big bodyguard. In fact, she's about yay tall. But the love that this man has for his daughter, who he calls his bodyguard, is staggering. And it can put a lump in your throat. It really can. The man found his why, like very few people out there. He has his reasons, and he's getting the results. But as I said, his approach is so different, but the techniques are so similar. And It's fantastic to realize that there are 1,300 people on this boat, and there might be 1,300 slightly changed processes for getting sober. But if you stick to the basics, right? Take these 8 steps and work them, people. Work them. Andrew Eats left a comment about how he's working 5, 6, and 7, the steps of the program that I've put up there for everyone to look at. And people, he's working the steps, right? It's not a cliche. He's working the steps. And do you know what's happening? He's a month sober. The man is doing exactly what he wants to do. He's becoming sober, and he's realizing all of the things in life he's missed. And he is a new dad, right? And his kids love the new dad. You can't do any better than that, people. What do they all this have in common? Why are we bringing up all these people? Because they stopped making excuses, and they stopped lying to themselves and to others. Short accounts, people, every single day. Please listen for excuses that you're making, and then see why you're making them. See if they're legit. Because here's the thing. I slammed my finger in a car door, lopped off the top digit. I'm probably not going to be able to go to work today. Yes, that is an excuse. It is also a very legitimate excuse. I'm not saying that there aren't excuses that are legitimate. But if you go down to the doctor and he fixes you up and you say, I'm not going to work for the next 6 months because I injured my finger, and I'm probably going to have to eat OxyContin for the next year and a half because of the pain of my finger. You understand where the excuse becomes horse hockey and where it's legit. So be on the lookout. And I'll tell you something else, people. If you hear me making excuses on this show, if you feel like, Tommy didn't do X, Y, or Z, and I feel like he's making excuses, point it out to me. Honestly, if you think I'm going to jump you, then you haven't really got a chance of to understand who I am yet. Honestly, people, it goes God, right? Family, and then sobriety. And you all are my family. I need to trim this mustache. Sorry, I went without it for so long now that it makes me itch. Clear this out. But you people are my support family. If you catch me slipping, please step up to the plate and tell me. I'm going to love you for it. I promise you I am. I'm going to love you for it. And then, lastly, I will say this. People, we'll have disagreements. It's going to happen. There'll be bumps in the road. Those are going to happen. But with family, we really are, right? This is the support family that we have assembled to help not only ourselves, but to help others. Let's not let anything get in the way of that. Anything silly, we can get by those things, right? Communication, we're going to talk about that in an upcoming video. But it is the basis for everything working, and it is the excuse for everything failing, right? Communication is key. People, I'm Tommy Scoville, right? I'm the captain of this here vessel. This is the lifeboat. If you want to be a part of this lifeboat, people, all you got to do is click on the cool little thing that's going to appear over here. It's my symbol. Click on that. It's the symbol of the boat. We will then invite you on board. That means you're a subscriber. That's awesome. Over here are videos. Make sure that you watch them a couple of times, maybe 3. And people, if you decide that you don't want to be on this boat, what's your excuse? I'm Tommy Scoville. I will see you on the next one.